Ano nga ba yung mga evidences na pwede po nating pagbasihan in the evolution of life? At paano nga ba nila ito na-discover, itong mga evidences na ito? Tara, samahan niyo po ako upang alamin kung ano yung mga pwede nating gamiting evidences base sa science sa pag-aaral po ng evolution of life. Hey everyone, welcome to my learning channel, Sir Fox Learning Channel. Today, pag-aaralan po natin yung evolving concept of life based on its emerging pieces of evidence and its themes. Alamin po natin, according to science, paano nga ba nag-evolve, ano yung mga evidences, at paano nakuha yung mga evidences. Importante po yun. At paano ito nagkakaroon ng interactions according to science pa rin. Tara, samahan niyo po ako upang alamin ang mga mahalagang konseptong ito sa Earth and Life Science for the second quarter, specifically Life Science. This is your first lesson for MELC or Most Essential Learning Competency 1. Tara, samahan niyo po ako. Happy learning, everyone. Okay, today I would like to discuss the evolving concept of life based on emerging pieces of evidence and its themes, unifying themes. So our first lesson here is about the evolving concept of life or the emerging pieces of evidence. Our learning target, first 3 learning target, is to identify the sequence of events of the history of life on Earth, and then name the pieces of evidence on the evolution of life on Earth, and lastly, recognize the importance of knowing the history of life on Earth. So last time, I discussed to you the historical development of life. So this is just a follow-up based on the 4A cube module. Kaya I am going to present this to you. Okay? Hopefully for our distance learners, grade 11 distance learners who are taking Earth and Life Science as the first MELC of Life Science in the first chapter of Life Science. Hopefully, makatulong po sa inyo itong short presentation. This is just actually a short presentation. Okay? Now, have you been curious of when and where did life possibly start on Earth? So, na-curious ba kayo? Or dumating ba sa point na na-curious kayo? Paano nga ba nagsimula yung life forms, yung living organisms dito sa lupa? As I presented last time, mayroong dalawang known na theory na nagdi-discuss, nag-explain how life forms start in this planet. So may presentation si Charles Darwin of his evolution theory, which is discussed, or which I discussed last time dun sa una kong video. And then ganun din po, meron din tinatawag na creation theory. Ito naman yung mga paniniwala ng most of the Christians, that there is a supreme being who created heaven and earth at the same time, all living organisms. Okay? And hopefully, nakatulong po yun sa inyo para somehow yung curiosity na naramdaman ninyo, na experience ay maibsan kahit papano. Okay? Now, according to science, pag-usapan po natin, during the 18th century, geologists and the naturalists found several forms of physical evidence that confirm that the Earth is very old. So, because of the evidences found by some scientists since 18th centuries, uh, naniniwala sila na talagang may pinagmulan yung Earth at yung mga evidences na yan confirm kung gaano nagko-confirm kung gaano nakatanda yung Earth. Okay? These evidences includes yung mga fossils of ancient sea life on dry land, far from oceans. This supported the idea that the Earth changed over time and some dry land today was once covered by oceans, and main layers of rock allowed the people to realize that rock layers represent the older or the order in which rocks and fossils appeared. Thus, they were able to trace the history of life and life on Earth. So itong mga fossils, ancient fossils na may mga natagpuan yung ating mga archaeologists ng mga sea fossils sa mountains, ito yung kanilang mga evidences na nagpapatunay kung gaano na nga ba katanda yung Earth. And actually, itong mga natatagpuan na fossils actually justifies kung ano yung sinasabi din sa Bible. Yan ay stated na rin sa Bible bago pa matagpuan ng mga scientists. Actually, declared na yan sa Bible or bago pa nila ma-discover. Nakasulat na po yan sa Bible. Lastly, the indications that volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and erosions that happened long ago shaped much of the Earth's surface and supported the idea of an older Earth. So, sabi sa pag-aaral ng mga scientists, archaeologists, volcanologists, because of the different volcanic eruptions happened before then, yan daw yung nag-shape, sabi nga dyan, shape much of Earth's surface and supported the idea of an older Earth. Now, the universe, according to science, based on the evidences they found, is about 4.6 billion years old. Therefore, life on Earth probably began only between 3.5 and 4.0 billion years ago. So this is just a theory base dun sa mga evidences na nakita po nila. Okay? Based on the fossils na nakita po nila. Yun yung kinuha po, dun po nila ginage yung yung age ng Earth base dun sa mga fossils na nakita po ng ating mga scientists. Evidences from fossils records show the emergence of the different life forms. The common ancestors of all life was prokaryotic, since oxygen was scarce on the early Earth, so the ancestral cell must also have been an anaerobic. There are some challenges encountered in searching for the evidence of early life. So, yun nga, usually, yung ating mga scientists, for them to know how old, when life form started, yung basis talaga nila is by dating, base dun sa mga fossils na nahanap po nila. Okay? Ang gagawin na lang natin ngayon is to study those studies, research they had done before. Okay? Cells are microscopic and most have no parts to fossilize. So, yun yung mahirap. The tectonic plate movements have destroyed nearly all rock older than about 4 billion years, sabi po ng mga geologists. And most of the younger rocks have been heated or undergone processes that destroy the traces of biological material. So dun sa grade 9, naalala ko po, because of the tectonic plate movement daw. At present, the oldest cell microfossils or microscopic fossils are filaments from 3.5 billion year old rocks in the Western Australia. So, ayan po. Base na nga rin sa mga nakita nilang mga fossils, yun talaga yung base nila. Kasi di ba nga sabi ni Charles Darwin, yung mga living organism nagsimula sa isang bacteria na nagkaroon ng cell hanggang sa nagkaroon yung organizations of development of life forms, o yung organizations from cell to tissue to organs hanggang sa naging complex organism. Okay? Based dun sa una po nating discussion. The filament resembles chains of modern photosynthetic bacteria, and rocks in which they occur are the remains of the ancient stromatolites. Now, the researchers look for biomarkers specific to eukaryotes. It is substance that occurs only or predominantly in cell of specific type. Now, itong mga eukaryotes are organisms having true nucleus. Take note for that, eukaryotes are organisms having true nucleus. That the DNA is enclosed within the nucleus, whereas DNA of most prokaryotes lies enclosed in the cell's cytoplasm. The first eukaryotes were protists. Actually, this is just a review. Kasi since grade 9, grade 8, napag-aralan nyo na po yan eh. For life to evolve from simple single-cell organism to many million of species of prokaryotic species to simple eukaryotic species to all the protists, fungi, plant, and animal took some time. So yung development na present ni Charles Darwin. The first life forms were very basic, and this then allowed for the evolution of more complex life forms. Eukaryotic cells evolved from prokaryotic cells. The evolution of life is brought about the changes in the environment which are linked to changes in climate and geology. Evolution of life is brought about the changes in the environment. So, nakadepende dun sa pagbabago ng environment. Nasabi ko na rin to sa unang video po natin. Base nga po yan sa paniniwala ng mga evolutionists na mayroong certain frame of time, at dyan sa frame of time, yung pagbabago ng life forms ay nakadepende rin dun sa environment kung saan sila lumalaki. These Earth's environmental changes made of Earth's environmental more suitable for a wider variety of life forms. Now, let's proceed to another lesson of that we will discuss today, the unifying themes in the study of life. Actually, na-tackle na rin po natin to dun sa una po nating video about the historical development of the life forms. So the unifying themes in the study of life. So our learning target on this is to name the unifying themes in the study of life. Ano ba yung mga themes? Unified themes in the study of life. Represent po natin yan later. Describe the unifying themes illustrated. I-describe din po natin yung mga themes na yan. Actually, itong mga themes is according to the theory of evolution. Give details on how these themes serve as the foundation in the study of biology. And then value life by taking good care of all being human, plants, and animals. I think ito yung pinaka-importante. Valuing life by taking good care of all beings, human, plants, and animals. Okay. Kagaya ng sinabi ko, kagaya natin as human being, ano ba yung factor po natin? Ano ba yung purpose natin? Bakit tayo create? According to the creation theory, we are created to manage, para alagaan, magbantay ng mga other living organisms na create ng Heavenly Creator. Okay? Earth is the home of human beings and organisms, including animals, plants, and microorganisms. Kasi out of 9 planets, 8 planets, Earth lang yung mayroong means of life forms. Earth pa lang yung napapatunayan na pwede magkaroon ng life forms. Kaya nga, yung Earth is the home of all living organisms, human being, animals, and plants, and even microorganisms. They are found in different parts of the said planet. So, mayroon tayong tinatawag na ecosystem. So, may kanya-kanya tayong may kanya-kanya tayong home. Kaya nga, ayan, yung ang pinakamalungkot po doon, human beings destroys the home of other living organisms because of industrialization. Diba? Kaya, no wonder, sa mga subdivisions kung saan kayo nakatira, ba't ang daming daga? Kasi sinira natin yung habitat po nila, yung kanilang home. Doon sila nakatira eh. Kaya makikitira sila sa mga bahay natin. Okay? Kaya, share nyo na lang. Wag na kayong magtaka. Sinira natin yung habitat nila. Sinira natin yung kanilang home. The ecosystems, the biological communities include living organisms or biotic factors like animals, plants, insects, and bacteria interacting to its environment, as well as the non-living components or abiotic factors. Take note for that. Biotic factors or living organisms, abiotic factors are non-living organisms like rock, soil, water, and sunlight. Okay? May interactions yan with each others. Sabi ko nga dun sa ating last video, bawat living organisms ay mayroong function yan to support life, to support the balance of the ecosystem, of the environment. Even non-living and living organisms. Non-living things are classified as inanimate objects that may influence or alter or impact the life of biotic factors. Kasi itong mga non-living organisms, preferably, nagiging factor din po ito for shelter, for home of the living organisms. Kaya sabi diyan, classified as inanimate objects that may influence or alter or impact the life of biotic or factors. Kasi ito yung ito yung environment kung saan lalaki si living organisms. These abiotic factors are essentials to biotic factors in various ways. Halimbawa, land, soil, rocks. Dito po nabubuhay yung mga plants, animals, human beings, insects. Diyan sila nabubuhay nakatira. Now, what are these shared properties of living organism that make something alive? So, ito yung mga shared properties of living organisms that make something alive. All levels of life has systems of related parts. Lahat ng mga living organisms or levels of life forms ay meron po yung systems of related parts. So una, is an organized group of interacting parts. Cell is a system of chemical and processes. It is the basic unit of life. A body system includes organs that interact. So, dun nga sa unang discussion natin, yung unifying themes, yung organizational development from cell to tissue to organ system, and to complex organism. An ecosystem includes living and non-living things that interact. Structures and functions are related in biology. So, yung structure and functions determines, yung structures ng isang living organism determines its function. The structure is the shape of the object. The function is the object-specific role. So, ikaw, as human, as a living organism, ano ba yung role mo in the environment? Organism must maintain homeostasis to survive in diverse environments. Nasa mundo po tayo ng diverse environments. Kasama po kasi natin yung mga iba't ibang uri ng organisms. Kaya diverse. Ganun din yung mga organisms, microscopic and macroscopic, kasalamuha din po natin sila. Kaya nga sabi dyan, must maintain homeostasis to survive in diverse environment. Pag sinabi pong homeostasis, is the maintenance of constant internal condition. And all living organisms must live in a stable environment. Stable environment. Kaya, hopefully, makatulong po tayo. Paano po natin mapapangalagaan, mapoprotektahan yung iba pang mga organisms, animals, na unti-unting nasisira yung kanilang home, yung kanilang habitat. Diba? Paano ka makakatulong dyan? Ano yung pwede mong gawin? Evolution explains the unity and diversity of life. Evolution is the change in living things over time. The genetic makeup of a population of a species changes. It accounts for both and the diversity and unity of life. The traits are being inherited and transferred. So, grade 9 na-discuss po yan. Bakit yan yung mukha mo? Bakit kamukha ka ng nanay mo, ng tatay mo, or minsan ng lolo mo? The continuity of life depends on the inheritance of biological information in the form of DNA molecules. Minsan, yung sakit ng parents natin, namamana po na, inherit po natin because of the DNA molecules. The genetic information encoded in the nucleotide sequence of the DNA. Organisms' reproduction or reproduce, it is necessary part of living process of making more of one's own kind. So, through reproduction, syempre. Different living organisms reproduce according to their structures. So, may kanya-kanya silang means of reproduction. Organisms are interdependent with one another. So, nakadepende. Organisms have evolved to live and interact with other organisms. Yung sinasabi ko na bawat organism meron yung function to balance the ecosystem. Ecology deals with the interaction of living organisms with one another and their environment. Ecology, take note for that. And organisms acquire the processed energy by as living organisms use a source of energy for their metabolic activities. Some living organisms capture the light's energy and convert into it through chemical energy in food. And some living organisms use chemical energy stored in molecules obtained from food. So, halimbawa, sunlight, paano po sila nagre-reproduce ng food? Plants, paano po sila nagre-reproduce ng food? By photosynthesis. However, living organisms or animals, paano sila nagpo-produce ng food, nag-obtain ng food? By digestion. So, na-discuss din po natin sa unang video. The two additional unifying themes in the study of life, ito po sila. Una, the scientific inquiry and the science, technology, and society. Yung scientific inquiry, ito po ay process of science includes observation-based discovery and the testing of explanation through hypothetic deductive. It is also the scientific credibility depends on the repeatability of observation and experiment. And another additional unifying themes in the study of life is the science and technology and society. Many technologies are goal-oriented applications of science. The relationships of science and technology to society are now more crucial to understand than ever before. So that's it. Hopefully, nakatulong po sa inyo itong short presentation. This is actually a short near presentation of the important informations that you must know about the unifying themes of life and its evidences. Actually, parang ano lang din ito, review of what have you learned from your junior high school in the study of life science. That's all for now. Happy learning, everyone.